Thanks for tuning in to Veterans Voices. I'm your host, Buck Carmichael. Today, we are talking about a national organization that pairs veterans with high-level business mentors. Joining us in studio today are Navy veteran Andrea Bryant and corporate mentor Steve Iribarne. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Andrea, we'll start with you. Please
Okay.
tell us a little bit about your background and yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a Navy veteran, did 4 years active duty, 6 reserves, been out for a few years. And I started with ACP in October of 2018. So I get to see how a lot of these mentor and protege partnerships are created, have a hand in that myself quite frequently. And I've also been a protege in the program and am now a mentor. So I get to see how it's all done.
Excellent. And Steve, how about you?
I have been an engineer for over 30 years. Got into management, about 30, after I've been an engineer for 30 years, and got into management at that point, and got involved with ACP about, a few years ago. Used my experience there to help people transition into, engineering jobs.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And Andrea, can you tell us just a little bit about American Corporate Partnership and what its mission is overall?
Absolutely. So our biggest thing is we have post 9/11 veterans, we have active duty spouses, incredibly capable individuals. They can go out and get a job, but is it the right job? We're all about combating underemployment and helping these people find meaningful employment. And we do that through one-on-one individualized mentorships. And we've got the white glove treatment. So employees like myself or my colleagues are there with our mentor and protege pairs for every step of the way for an entire year.
Okay. And Steve, how long have you been mentoring, and what are some of the takeaways that you get from the program as a mentor?
So I've been doing this for about 5 years or so, and some of the takeaways I've gotten are things like it's very rewarding for me to help veterans understand that there's a lot more to what, serving in the military is very similar, especially if you're trying to get an engineering job, into engineering and what we do, how we do it, how we do the teams, and how do we build the teams, and how we act in a team, and how we, all the risk management that we do. It's very similar to the military, and it's just speaking differently. It's to address the issues differently, and so that is the rewarding part, is to tell them, hey, you know what, you really are good at what you do, and it translates exactly into engineering. And if you like doing engineering, this is how you do it. And when that clicks, and I get them thinking differently, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do this, and that's really great, is to get them to, getting them to click. It's amazing.
It sounds like it's really rewarding from your point of view too. Andrea, you have a unique experience in having been a mentee and a mentor.
Exactly.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit about the veterans experience?
Yeah, it's really a great experience just because you fill out an application, whether you're a mentor or a protege. You get a 15-minute onboarding call, you get someone who gets to know you a little bit better and hand selects a participant for you, your counterpart, so to speak. I have had great mentors in the past who've helped me to build out something where I have this overarching dream. How do I organize that? How do I put that on a timeline? How do I get to my milestones? And I have someone there to break that down for me and decide, okay, this is the career path I want, or wow, I just saved myself a lot of heartache. That's not the direction I want to go in. This is something that's going to be more worth my time. Having that one-on-one expert guided experience is just, it's amazing, and at no cost to me, and not just because I'm an employee, but it's free to all post 9/11 veterans and active duty spouses.
So it seems like a real key part of the program is to make sure that the mentor and the mentee kind of are aligned in what their goals are. Can you talk us a little bit about the vetting process and how you end up pairing, and if a veteran doesn't really feel comfortable with that, if there's a process to potentially find a new mentor? Or?
Absolutely. So like I say, there's the application process. There's about a 15-minute onboarding call. We do that for mentors like Steve and for proteges alike. So one of my colleagues is conducting that. And then we work together as a team to narrow down the pool. So we narrow it down by industry. Career fit's the most important thing. But we also ask about on the call any preferences people have. Great example, a lot of proteges want to work with a mentor with a PMP or an MBA, and there's ways for us to filter for that. But then we're looking through to see if there's any other key points that they might align on, and we handpick them. Even so, whoever we find is not an assignment, so we send a bio and say, hey, Steve, does this sound like a good fit for you? We let Steve go through it, we let his counterpart go through it. Once we have that agreement, we can get them introduced. Sometimes there's some pushback. We do miss the mark on occasion. That's okay. With some detailed feedback from the participant, we can adjust our search and we can nail it on the second try.
And can you tell us a little bit about your experience from that then?
Yeah,
as well?
so like Andrea was saying, there's been times where I've gotten, where I've received a protege and realized, yeah, this is just not going to work. This is not what I do. I can't help this person. There's no way I can help that person. There's other times where I've gotten a protege where we've actually gotten together thinking, okay, this is all going to work, and it didn't click between the two of us. We didn't click, and it was easy to switch that person out with somebody else that can help them, and then I got somebody that I could really help and move forward with that person.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit into the nuts and bolts then. So now you have a mentor and a mentee, you have a partnership there. What happens next?
Well, again, it's very much the protege-driven process. If they have any particular timelines, 50% of our veteran protege pool are transitioning out of the military in the next year. So they have timelines of, okay, should I be working on networking? Should I get a degree or a certification while I'm still in and the military will pay for it? Different things like that. It's also, they might not know what those timelines should look like. A mentor can help with that, thinking about hiring windows. Where are you going to live? What are you bringing to the table with education, experience, breaking down, translating that experience to a civilian market? So there's no two mentorships look alike. There's some basic structure, but again, it's the protege laying out his or her goals, usually a more long-term process, reverse engineering it from there to figure out what they can be doing every day to be successful.
And Steve, do you have any kind of success stories that you might like to share with
Yeah,
us?
so there's lots of, building on what Andrea was just saying, is that when I get them, a lot of them have no idea what engineering is like in the real world. And it's, hey, let's go and get this class. Let's go and work on this. Okay, great, the military's got some money that I'm gonna go and enroll in the local city college or whatever to go to, take those courses. At the same time, then I'm also working with them on things that we do a lot of with open source projects, saying, here, go get your feet wet, really go and work with other engineers, and which is open source. So, and I kind of get them into, okay, these guys talk over the internet, they can be a little bit of a pain in the butt once in a while. So just take what they say with a grain of salt, because they're going to be grading your code. And I help them, I kind of navigate that with them, navigate school with them, and then say, okay, now we're ready to go and try to apply for jobs and figure out what you want to do.
Yeah.
And I've gone on your website and I've seen a lot of metrics about how those that enter the program go in at a certain salary and they see a jump in that when they complete the program. Mm-hmm. How do you measure the success of this program? And I'd like to hear from both of you, if you don't mind.
It's about achieving the protege's goals from what they had at the outset. If they don't, then it's generally because they reshape their expectations and their timelines. A lot of times, maybe people don't know that they want to get into engineering. They don't know where to start. 20 years in the infantry, how does that translate to the civilian world? So it can be a little bit more of an exploratory relationship in that sense. And if they're able to develop a longer-term career path by the end of that mentorship, that's also a success story.
So with me, it's the way I figure out the success is, first of all, is one of the things you were just talking about, salary. When they're, get an actual interview, okay, here's how the interviews are gonna work. Because I've been on both sides of this, where I've been an engineer doing the interview, but I'm also a VP now, where I go and I'm conducting the interview going, okay, here's what I'm expecting from this. So I give that to the interviewee, the protege, and say, here's what they're looking for, but then also you're interviewing them. They are not just interviewing you, you're also interviewing them. You don't have to accept this job. And the first kind of couple jobs come in and they're like really low salaries. I was like, no, they're just lowballing you. Here, this is how this game works. And then when they get that successful job, and then I get LinkedIn notifications from them years later now. I've got 5 or 6 now, and I'm still getting LinkedIn notifications from them. Hey, dude, this is a great job. Thanks for helping me along the way. I'll get Christmas cards and Christmas presents from them, and it's great, keeping that, keeping that in touch with everybody like that. It's a wonderful. That's the success for me.
Well, thank you both very much for joining us. Thank you very much for the information.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going to now hear from the Director of Military Engagement at the American Corporate Partners, Leslie Coffey.
I'm Joshua Zebley, Veterans Voices, and I'm here with Leslie Coffey, Director of Military Engagement at American Corporate Partners. Welcome, Leslie.
Hi, Joshua. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm thrilled to be here.
Of course, thank you. So, your company, American Corporate Partners, is one of those ones I heard about from a coworker, and I was like, what is this? This is too good to be true. I looked at your website, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to have somebody from American Corporate Partners on Veterans Voices. So I want to give you the opportunity to tell us about American Corporate Partners.
Fantastic. Yes, so I'm an alumna of the program, and I can tell you before it was afforded to me, I had the same exact reaction. So ACP is a nationwide nonprofit, and we focus solely on combating underemployment. The way we go about doing that is we provide fully customized, fully supported, and fully monitored one-to-one mentorship. So that's one mentor to one veteran or one mentor to one military spouse for a year, completely customized based on their unique goals and their unique journey.
I mean, I looked at some of the partners you have, and it's just unlimited. I was just trying to think, what some of the big names, throw some of those out there for us. Not the names of the mentees or the mentors, but the companies.
Oh my goodness, 120 of the top Fortune 500 companies, Amazon, Major League Baseball, Disney, UBS, Johnson & Johnson, we have 120 of those. And we're so very fortunate. We actually have mentors from more than 2,200 companies. We have a mentoring pool of more than 26,000. So those 120 corporate partners, that's just the beginning.
I mean, when would you ever get an opportunity like that to be mentored by someone from Disney, Amazon? I mean, what I also found really amazing was that the mentee and the mentor both kind of vetted through each other, right? I mean, it's you're trying to find people who have something in common, or maybe that mentee wants to work their way to, they experience the same life experiences, or maybe they think they have. Can you tell us a little about how you put people together?
Yes, so our whole process is completely human driven. We've got a staff more than 80. It all starts with a phone call for both the mentor and the veteran or military spouse. And then based on the feedback, based on what the veteran or spouse is looking to get into, not only the career fit, but also we go into things such as personality, hobbies, how they take feedback, if they have a strong preference for former service or not. We take all this into account, and then we go on the hunt for the best fit mentor. We do have a mutually agreed upon buy-in process, so we make sure they're both interested in working with each other prior to making an introduction. And then we actually support and monitor the relationship throughout the year. So it's not just like, here's this phenomenal mentor, good luck, I hope it all works out for you. We're there to monitor and facilitate that relationship throughout the year.
Could you tell me about your experience in the program?
Absolutely. So before it was afforded to me, I was stationed in the middle of the Mojave Desert, and they announced in 2018 that they were launching for spouses. I had already been giving it out to folks that were transitioning because it wasn't yet afforded to me. And anyhow, I did apply. I put a countdown app on my phone to be one of the first spouses to apply. My mentor had 30 years of experience at Microsoft. Her face has been on Times Square. She's on the Forbes Coach Council. So you want to talk about how would I ever have the opportunity to speak to this person if it had not been for ACP? That was my experience. And my mentor increased my pay by 67% from the middle of the desert.
I think it's so important and so impactful that American Corporate Partners works with military spouses as well as veterans and soon to be veterans. But also, what I found also very interesting was the ratio of females to males. You know, in the military, it's around what I think 15% female, maybe a little higher. But with American Corporate Partners, you're higher than that. Is that correct?
That is correct. We are typically a good reflection of the military, but for our women, we're 25% women. So I think the military is around 18% on average, and we're about 25%.
That's amazing. So if you're a soon-to-be veteran right now or spouse, how soon in their transition process, or do they even need to be transitioned, especially for the spouses, can they reach out to you and kind of work on, you know, the next steps?
So spouses anywhere in their journey, they could be a brand new 19-year-old spouse, or they could be quite seasoned like myself with 30 years under their belt. Regardless of where they are in their journey, we can assist. For transitioning service members, I would say no more than a year out, but you know, magic part of the window is likely about 6 months before transition. That way you still have your mentor for 6 months after to integrate well into that new position. And then post 9/11. This year is 25 years since 9/11. So we can assist anybody that's raised their right hand to serve and volunteer and sacrifice for our country since 9/11.
That's amazing. So besides your obvious success story, do you have any other ones that you could share with us?
Oh my goodness. Well,
I know.
I've got about 43,000 of them.
Maybe you could pick one that's really cool. You thought, oh my, this person got to meet so-and-so and how amazing was that? And just the experience. I mean, I think even if you don't, you know, right after you go through the program, you're not going to be a CEO somewhere, but just that life experience that you got from them. If you could tell us one of those, that'd be really cool to hear.
Yeah, well, you know, a service member by the name of Robert comes to mind because he messaged me on a Sunday morning, and he was an E4 transitioning into cyber. He didn't have a degree, and what I didn't know until he messaged me on this random Sunday was that he had been living out of his truck, eating MREs, and was just, you know, what his words were, mentally torn. And what he was messaging me about was that I had encouraged him months before to get a mentor. And he was messaging me, he was moving into his apartment in Salt Lake City, had landed his dream position as a cybersecurity analyst with Leidos. And what I probably love most about that is his mentor didn't work at Leidos, because we're not job placement. It's just he had somebody with years of experience in that career path that could help him to navigate it, make the right introductions, make sure his resume and LinkedIn were optimized until he landed that great position.
So veterans come with a lot of life experience in that short, you know, maybe 4 years, 8 years, 12 years. So finding someone who can kind of just help you, I think someone you can listen to, someone you can bounce ideas off of, is way more important that I think than let me work on your resume for you, because there's a lot of people that do that. But have someone who is at that kind of level that you achieve to, or you strive to be at, really gives you a lot of confidence, right? I mean, even myself, pretty well established in my career, I'm constantly seeking someone who I can say, hey, what do you think about this? And what do you think? How important is that for, you know, an E8 coming out of the military thinking like, what do I do now? I've been in charge of hundreds of people, but now I'm kind of maybe not at the bottom, but I don't really understand this. So making that connection, how successful do you think that is?
Absolutely. Well, they don't know what they don't know. That's part of it, right? They have no idea. And the mentors really open their eyes just to the art of the possible, all the different positions that exist. For example, I had a retiring E7 who worked for the Air Force in satellites. His primary goal was to get a remote position because he was in a very remote location in one of those Minnesota or Wisconsin, a cold state. We found a financial services mentor, and at first he actually didn't even want to have the conversation. He thought, I don't want to, I'm not interested in that space. And we said, have a call. We can always continue to look. But we highly recommend it because that space was opening up to remote positions. While the mentor, after one call, said, well, if you understand satellites, you get risk. Take this certification. And, you know, there's a lot of risk within financial services. That certification and that mentor's guidance led to a 6-figure remote position in that actually with the mentor's competitor. It wasn't with this company, it was with the competitor, but that mentor is able to see a specific skill set and how it can fit into his sector.
This is such an amazing program, and we're going to list how to get a hold of ACP, in the credits of the show. But if you want to shout out real quick, an easy way to find you, we appreciate so much you coming on and what you do for veterans and spouses, and your approach. It's such an important thing you do. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes, please visit us, acp-usa.org. Again, it's acp-usa.org. And if you have an hour a month and you'd like to give back, of course, we could always use more mentors. I'm now a 3-time mentor myself, and I will tell you, it's so fulfilling.
Thank you very much, Leslie.
Welcome back to Veterans Voices. We are talking about corporate mentors for veterans. Welcome back. So we've talked a lot about the one-on-one mentorship between the veteran and the mentor. And there's a lot of talk about unemployment out there. And I think that for veterans that are getting out, like you mentioned earlier, it's difficult to choose a path and kind of stick with it. What role as a mentor do you have in helping that veteran kind of achieve that goal and stay on that path?
Yeah, the trick to that is finding something they enjoy. Then once they find what they enjoy, there is a path that we created when we first kind of connect up, and then it's with me checking in, as much as possible. I give them my cell number, I give them my personal email, so it's like, hey, or they've already got my email, but it's like, hey, contact me anytime. You got questions along the way, contact me anyway. There's always going to be ups and downs, especially when you're looking for work. And, I always tell them, apply for 10 jobs a day. Go up there, here's the website, so you go look for work, just every day, get up, have your cup of coffee, do 10 jobs a day. That's all you got to do. Don't do more than that, just do 10. And because it's time consuming and it's defeating to constantly be doing all this stuff. But you stay persistent, then you get your interviews. You'll start getting them, and they'll start getting a lot of them. And then we get back into, okay, what am I looking for? How much money am I looking for? Am I just looking to get a job? How do I just get a job? And in this market, lots of things are changing. We got AI and how that works and how that fits into engineering especially, and how we got to go and change the way that they do schooling now. And so, that fits into everything that I go and try to drive them down. But it's more of I'm just a cheerleader at this point. There's a lot of jobs out there, and there's a lot of work. Don't listen to the press about, oh, you're not going to find anything. That's the press being the press. There's a ton of stuff out there, whether it's volunteer work and then eventually turns into a job, or whether and that's doing those open source projects, and then it turns into, hey, people get to know you now. Hey, I worked with them on this, open source project. Now I'm working at this other company. I know a guy. And it brings you back into your networking. And then, the other part I work on, and you had said something earlier about this, is the networking. You got to get your network. You got to grow that network, and how to grow that network. And then don't get too down. There's going to be downtimes. There's going to be interviews. You're going to be horrible at these interviews. And that's okay. The next one comes up, and you're not going to be horrible at it. You're going to be really high thinking you did great. And then the feedback comes back, oh, you sucked. And you're going to go, oh, that was horrible. It doesn't matter. It happens to everybody, and you just kind of keep trudging through it. And eventually, at the end of the goal, you get this at the end of the rainbow here.
And Andrea, do you kind of see yourself as in that cheerleader role as well?
Much of it, yes. It's and it's about resilience, which of course veterans and spouses are very good at. That's a great quality of theirs. But of course, the networking piece is enormous, and that's also something that ACP can help with, whether it be, hey, you've already got a network connection with your mentor, but your mentor can also give you an idea of, okay, we're going to develop your elevator pitch. This is how you can reach out to people on LinkedIn. This is how you can develop a list of target companies. So you go into a lot of these interviews not blind, but you've collected your intelligence. Now you're building a plan for execution, so you're not just shooting into the dark or crossing your fingers with an interview. You can do mock interviews with your mentor. And it's all about that preparation, and also that preparation was effective. You did it in not blindly, but with guidance, and you maximized all of your efforts.
Yeah, Andrea said something really important there, is that the mock interviews, I've done a ton of those, and it really helps. They'll come back to me and go, oh, I was not expecting this question, and when we did the mock interview with you, I got that exact question, like, you know, what is good about you? What is bad about you? You know, and how do you answer those? You know, what is your weakness? You don't go and say, oh, well, I work too much. No, that's not what is your weakness. What your weakness is, they want to know in their job description, where are you going to need to learn the most? And one thing a military guy can do, or girl, female, whatever, can do is they can learn. And that's the one thing that a lot of people in the military don't understand, is that is a huge quality out there. Is that there's a lot of people that go to school, these kids that come out of school, they can't think on the fly. They can't learn fast. They get tunnel vision, that, oh, this is all I'm good at. Military people are like, yeah, fine, give it to me. I'll go figure it out. And that's, a very important thing to help them out.
Well, it sounds like you're providing a lot of good advice to these veterans. I think the mock interview, everybody gets nervous before an interview, so to get it out of the way is fantastic. Yeah. And not only that, but you guys are pairing them with very high-level corporate, partnerships here. Can you talk a little bit about that and how they get involved there and some of the rewarding parts on that end?
Sure. So as the name implies, American Corporate Partners, much of our mentors and funding initially came from corporate partners, whether that be Lockheed Martin, Amazon, you name it. We've since expanded the program out to individual contributors like Steve, because our protege pool has grown over the years in such a way there's certain areas of expertise and experience that we're looking for, and we've also had some generous grants over the years that allow us to grow our pool. So if you are an experienced professional yourself and thinking of giving back to the veteran and spouse community, please apply as a mentor. Cannot stress that enough. But there's so many great experiences, and one of the coolest parts about my job is when I get to talk to a mentor for that onboarding call and they're not sure if they can help a protege. Knowing what I know on my side of it, it's like I might actually have a person in mind right now. You guys would just click. So really cool experience, and yeah, if you're thinking about mentoring or becoming a protege, we're your outlet for that. Please apply.
Now, how involved are you as a mentor in customizing the path, or do you really rely on the veteran to kind of steer the ship, and then you provide a little navigation along the way?
Yeah, that's what I try to do, is I try to let the veteran tell me, what they want to do, what they're interested in, what they want to do. I've had one veteran that really got stuck on security. I want to do security, but that wasn't his real strong suit. It was like, and he kept applying to these same companies over and over and getting rejected. I was like, look, we got to change our way here. And we did. And then he finally started getting some interest and some hits, and then, oh, wow. Then he started getting, really good, stuff, and he ended up going into the FBI. Wow. So that's where he ended up, going, where I steered him away from these security companies and said, no, FBI might be something that, and then he went there and got a job there.
Well, again, just what a great program you both are involved in. Before signing off, do you have any kind of closing remarks for the audience?
Well, my biggest one, we always want proteges to apply. If you're a post 9/11 veteran or an active duty spouse, please apply. You get assigned an actual person, ACP point of contact, who will walk you through any next steps. And we're very, very suggestible as well in that we are working off of what you're telling us. So you're not locked into a mentorship just based on applying. We can curate resources for you as well and pick it up at another time. If you're a mentor, if you have some great experience, you're ready to give back, please apply as a mentor as well. We really are looking to grow that talent pool.
All right, so I'm going to do two things, the mentor and the proteges. Okay, so the mentors, you guys, anybody in the field like me that has been an engineer for a while, get out there and give. It's so rewarding. You get lots of support from ACP to help you, pick the right mentor, or the right protege, and they really do help you with their resources. But those of you that are wanting to be a protege, you'd be silly not to go and just go into the program. Just check it out, because you guys have so much to offer. You have no idea how much you have to offer. It is so important for you to get out there. It'll be good for you. You'll learn new stuff. You'll meet new people. You get this thing network going, and you'll be shocked at what is out there for you guys.
Some great pro tips and some great information from both of you. Andrea, Steve, thank you very much for joining us today.
All right.
Thanks so much for having us.
There are a wide variety of benefits and opportunities open to only veterans, opportunities you have earned and deserve. We hope you will take advantage of the ones that inspire you. Here are the resources if you would like to learn more information or reach out. American Corporate Partners pairs veterans with corporate mentors. Find them at acp-usa.org or call 212-752-0700. For help with accessing any veteran services or benefits, a county veteran service officer is a great place to start. Find one near you at NACVSO.org. To rewatch today's episode, check back on our homepage later this week or check your cable provider's schedule for rebroadcast times. You can also rewatch this episode and many others on our YouTube channel, Veterans Voices of Contra Costa, so be sure to subscribe. Scan the QR code to find us on all of our social media channels. Veterans Voices premieres on CCTV the second Wednesday of every month at noon. We always discuss topics that are important to the veterans community. To all veterans and their families, thank you for your service, and to all tuned in, have a great day.